Today, we are speaking with Gigi Vogel, the stunning entrepreneur behind De La Heart, a Miami-based lifestyle and wellness brand. She is a wife, a mother, and the queen of lymphatic drainage. Welcome to the podcast, Gigi Vogel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's
You're an
so
angel.
nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
And I'm always so honored to be invited to a podcast, to a fun conversation. And that's why I started De La Heart, right? Because I wanted to connect to women and people in a deeper level. So this means the world. Thank you.
Speaking of that, you just came from what looks like the most insane, beautiful retreat. How was it? Tell me all about it.
It was magic.
Yeah.
It was so magical when you bring a group of people together to retreat and heal and transform. You never know what you're going to get and you never know what's going to happen. So everyone kept asking me, like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I was like, no, I'm not nervous because I had never done it before. It was my very first one. So I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, really.
Yeah.
Which was a good thing. And I had no expectations. But then I had really high expectations. I wanted everything to be as planned. And I had drawn this beautiful sequence of events that were going to lead one into the next. And we started by really opening our bodies and pushing our bodies to our limits so that then our inner body and our mind and our souls are more open to receive. And then we would start doing different sound healing therapies and then just continuing to open up those pathways, not only the physical but the emotional body. And it was just so magical. The group was insane. It was the most beautiful group of women. Everybody was very open, very eager to learn, to transform. It was a true retreat where we wanted to take a break from the day-to-day to be better, to take a look at ourselves, to see where there's room for improvement, how we can be and show up as the better versions of ourselves in every aspect. And I just gave everyone the tools that worked for me when I wanted transformation in my life. And that's what I like to share. So it was a complete success. And
so
we had so much fun. And we created these relationships with the girls that are going to last like a long time.
Did you know the women prior?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. I had been on a yoga retreat last year, and some of the girls were there. Yeah. But we didn't really, in that retreat, I was kind of like doing like a me treat. So I wasn't really into the group because I was desperate for a long time. So I didn't really get to know them then. Yeah. This time around, they were familiar faces, but we really got to connect. Like I got to ask them questions and connect with everyone in a deeper level. So it was really beautiful. Not to mention we were in paradise, and that Riviera Maya is so magical and so transformative when you're looking for healing in alternative ways, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so once you do your first event, you're like, okay, wait, now I'm so excited for my next one.
No, actually. I am energetically not ready for my next one because I set the bar really high for myself, for the group, for everyone who had FOMO that didn't go. Yeah. So I just want the next event to really come to me the right way, with the right people, the right place. And I am still on a high we just got back 2 weeks ago. So I'm still just riding this high. And I personally feel amazing this morning. I'm like, oh my God, I am in such a flow that you don't even realize how beneficial 3 to 4 days that you take to yourself, for yourself, really committed to this like, I don't want to say regime, but just committed to this program
Yeah.
so that you can reap up benefits when you come back and you integrate into your life. It's been amazing for me. So if everyone else is feeling the way I'm feeling, I'm like, holy, we really need to step it up for the next one. So it'll come. It will
Yes.
come because
Yeah.
I unlocked something that I didn't know that I could do.
Right.
Because, you know, I started in social media and I
Yeah.
work mostly on social media. So you don't really get to put a face to the name, or you may be texting with someone, but you don't really get to know them.
Right.
But holding space for people to better themselves in real life, in real time, is a true gift that I didn't know that I had. So it was very heart opening for me to be able to guide meditation, something I had
Right.
never done before. I meditate every day, but I had never guided anyone through a meditation.
Yeah.
Being able to educate and all these things that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I unlocked a lot of gifts for myself that I for sure want to continue to keep sharing.
That's amazing. When you say to me, like, you guided a meditation, what does that mean?
So I just invite everyone to, I meditate every day, and I am a Dr. Joe Dispenza fan.
Yes.
And I love his meditations, and I
Yes.
like to do his guided meditations. So I welcome the group to do the same. Obviously not like Dr. Joe does, but like how Gigi does.
Yeah.
And I just invited everyone to come into the very present moment and be there with me and allow the mind to come to the body and feel the waves, feel the sand on our skin, feel the beauty of the place we were in, feel the energy of those around, and just learn to appreciate true presence. And in and out of that place, feel gratitude and open your heart out of a place of gratefulness. And when your heart is open and you're grateful, that's like a true open path to receive. So then in that moment when you're open to receive, then you can ask, right? Because there's all these affirmations where you ask for things, but are you open and ready to receive them?
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of the times they don't come.
Yeah.
Because there's no alignment. So our goal, and my friend Deanna, who was in charge of the physical part, she's an amazing yoga teacher and movement facilitator for many, many years.
Yeah.
That was our goal, to make sure that everyone was able to align their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts, their words, and everything was just one line.
Oh, I love that. I got
To
goosebumps
connect
just
to
by
the
you.
divine, right?
Yes.
Because that's what we want. We want to be able to download the messages and connect. So that's why everything needs to be aligned.
Yeah. Are you religious?
No,
Okay.
I am not.
Okay.
I am not. I am very spiritual.
Yep.
I do believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
I do believe in just higher divine timing and power. So I am very religious, and not religious, sorry, spiritual.
Spiritual. Yeah.
But no, not religious at all.
I want to go back, and I really want to deep dive. You're originally from Colombia. And I know that when you started De La Heart, it came from a place of you kind of being sick.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. How were you sick in Colombia? Was it like, what had happened? What had taken
No,
place?
so I moved from Colombia when I was about like ninth grade. I think in
Okay.
ninth grade. You're
High
like,
school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like high school.
Yeah.
And it was fine. Then I graduated. I started my first job, and at college. My college experience wasn't necessarily what I thought was going to be. So I started drinking a lot. At that time, I remember it was '08. My family had gone through a really hard financial crisis, like everyone else at that time. And that kind of shook off our families. My parents divorced. I had it was just a mess.
Yeah.
And I was also going to a transition where you're 18, you're an adult, so now you move on to the world. And I really didn't have any guidance or any support
Yeah.
because my parents were dealing with their own
Their own stuff. Mm-hmm.
And I just started drinking.
Yeah.
And I started partying. And I feel that since everyone is doing that around that time, nobody ever thought it was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was just like, oh, that's what they do. You drink yourself
Exactly.
silly. You're in college.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I realized I was drinking out of a place of running away and not being able to cope with my feelings and everything that comes with nightlife. And in Miami, you start your nightlife very early and very young. Yeah. And so I was out, and then I had 3 jobs because, I had to like help out and survive. And I was going through college, and it was a really hard time in my life, my 20s. And I was just in that hustle of like trying to make money, trying to get the degree so we can get a good job. And in that, you lose yourself. You lose, you have nothing. You're not looking for purpose. Exactly. It's not even like, you're just in the survival mode, right? Yeah. And you don't even know what's happening. And it's so funny because a lot of that time is like a blur to me. I was like, was I always drunk, or was I that not present?
Right.
You're so not present that you don't even remember what happened.
Yeah.
So my body started sending signals, right? My body was like, hey, the first one was, I'm a petite person. I've always been petite, but I started gaining weight.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is weird, like whatever. Like, okay. Then I started breaking out in cystic acne. Then my hair started falling off. And then I started getting chronic UTIs. I used to get like 8 to 9 UTIs a year.
That's so crazy. So how old are you at this point?
In my 20s, like
okay.
22, 23.
Early 20s, okay.
Horrible. And with that came, so the medical treatment is 10 days of antibiotics. This is a really strong antibiotic called Cipro. Okay. And now I know that it was killing my gut and killing all the good and bad bacteria. So then I was craving more sugar, and then I was drinking, and then it was just like spiraling down, right? And you're not getting better, and then you get sick again, and then you go back to the doctor, and the doctor gives you the same. Yeah. So I realized I was also very unhappy. I was in the wrong relationship. I was dating all these guys that whatever. And I was broke, right? So it's like everything that I wanted was not happening.
And it's the domino effect. Yeah. One bad thing, boom, it all just falls down.
So I realized it was time to make a change. Yeah. And life brought me to a friend that said, you should go. Oh, and then I was a runner, right? Oh. So my way out of everything, I started running because I ran in high school. But then my back started really hurting because I was running like 10 miles, right? Like work hard, play hard type thing. And my friend was like, you should try yoga. And I was like, okay, fine. I went to a yoga class and I hated it. I'm like, oh, this sucks. This is terrible. But it made me feel better. But I didn't return. I was like, this is not for me. Yeah. Then another friend of mine was like, you should go see this doctor, this holistic doctor, Dr. Etty, like, see what's up with you. And I'm like, this is 2010. Like, there's no holistic doctors. There's no Instagram, right? There's not of this social media information that we have today. Yep. And I was like, okay, fine. I go to her and she's like, listen, you have an overgrowth of candida, which is a bacteria that loves sugar. You drink a lot. Yeah. You're not alkaline. Your body's acidic. That's why you keep getting sick. She basically, long story short, told me to drink a green juice and to put coconut oil in my vagina. And that was what fixed everything. So
no way.
I started, then I obviously started changing my diet. I started juicing. I started cutting a little bit on the alcohol. And I started moving differently. So not being so hard on my body, not being so like beating myself down, and having a little bit more compassion. And that, that was many years of day after day of changing. I used to box for an hour and then run for an hour and then go to work for 10 hours and then party and then drink. So, I started cutting back a lot and slowing down and kind of like falling into the rhythm of things. And and my health turned around, and then I learned. I wanted to learn more, and I
Yeah.
became fascinated. I mean, I grew up in Colombia, so we were always exposed to eating at home and eating clean, and but I didn't know obviously what I knew today, what I know today. So I just wanted to learn. So I went to the IIN in New York. I became a holistic health coach, and I learned more. Then I just started implementing all these like beautiful mechanisms. At this time I was dating a guy that was really into like the wellness world and the vegan diet, so I was
Right.
vegan for like a year.
Okay.
And that's when I started seeing, I realized that I was in the fashion industry, and I realized that that industry wasn't serving me. It
Yeah.
was just
Extra stress too.
more stress, and it wasn't giving me what I wanted, financial freedom, or I didn't feel financially safe or any of that stuff. So I started looking for different things, and finding my way, and I was always passionate about beauty and wellness.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward to, I want to say 5-6 years, I wanted to put all this together in a blog, and I wanted to share with people that, you can change your life, and you don't have to touch rock bottom, like, oh my God, I went to rehab, or, that there's things on the surface that are giving you messages that maybe we're not seeing, right? That you can grasp and get ahead and turn your life around, and I was able to do that and be able to manifest the man of my dreams, and the family that I wanted, and the health that I wanted, which I'm so thankful for. I'm the biggest hypochondriac, so I am like every morning I'm like, thank you for being able to move my body. Thank you that I'm healthy. I'm on the board at Nicholas Children's Hospital, so I see so much that when I come home after a board meeting or a visit at the hospital, I just hug my healthy kids, and I'm always so, so, so grateful. So Della Hart was born out of my own transformation, my own personal transformation, with alternative tools, right? Not the traditional way, not with religion, but with spirituality, not with therapy, but with psychedelics, not with a normal doctor, like a holistic doctor, not with a conventional American diet, but a vegan and vegetarian diet, and moving away from everything that I knew. I grew up eating meat, I ate chicken, and, like all these things, and being able to be in that space and find healing, and then learn to understand and know my body, to now make decisions out of an intuitive place. Because if, nowadays in my industry, it's like, oh, just eat intuitively. But if you are not in touch with your body, what your body's asking you is for another drink, for another burger, for another pizza.
Exactly.
So the first step is to just get in tune with that body and listen and be able to get the messages. And then you can start working out of an intuitive place, right? Like, now I know, okay, is it a day to push? Is it a day to... I started eating meat again after I had my son. My body wanted it. My iron levels were down. So then I had to kind of like free myself from this dogma, right? Because when we find something that works, we want to hold on to it forever.
Exactly.
And I had to let go. So there's always like this navigation of, you are never the same. Our body changes. Your needs are different. I gave birth to 2 children. My life is busier than ever. So you need to eat different and move different, and just be open to changing and going with the flow.
Yeah. What I'm seeing more and more is that people are sick in terms of like, they've done the route of drinking, eating terribly. They don't work out. It's like you have that sick. But then what I'm starting to see, especially like within my friend group, internal trauma that manifests and makes itself. It makes your body sick, right? And it's funny what you bring up about candida, because when my mom passed away, it was awful. But I saw a big change in myself physically. And that change wasn't like I stopped going to the gym change. It wasn't, oh, I started eating terribly. Like, no. I was so angry that it truly, like, I'm not exaggerating when I tell people this. I was so angry. I had so much anxiety that it had truly manifested itself in my stomach and in my gut.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and saw a naturopath, and she was like, oh my God. She's like, your levels are insane. She's like, I've never seen candida like this before.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, and I think what's happening is there is so much stress built up in your body that you're not releasing. And I forget what the term was she used was, but it was like, she's like, your liver isn't detoxifying.
Yeah. Yeah, because your liver, and this is all a set of beliefs, right? You have to want to believe that emotions stay in your body.
Yes.
And that undealt emotions become disease.
Yeah. Bingo.
Right? So if you believe in that, and I do believe in that, then you understand what happens. The liver is in charge of your emotions.
Yes.
So when your liver is not working, it's because you have some emotional situation that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Thyroid cancer, it's a lot of the times, it's very manifested in women because a lot of times we don't speak our truth, right? And there's a lot here that's stuck. So energetically, and in Chinese medicine, we know that they believe in flow.
Yes.
So where there's stagnation, there is disease. That's why their whole thing is to open up the channel so that everything is flowing.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And I think that's why it's called holistic healing. And that's why even now with my skincare line, we believe in this ecosystem, right? Like there's no beauty, outer beauty, if you're sad and angry and upset and you're not dealing with your shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's the first place to start, and that's why we worked on the emotional body. We work on the mind. We work on the body, the physical body, because that's how things get out, right? Because there is it's energy at the end of the day. So and then you start seeing these improvements. Then you start feeling better, right? Like, how good do you feel after a good cry?
Oh my God. It's like, it's transformative.
It's
transformative.
Or after you finally say that thing that you been wanting to say. Like, I had to have a hard conversation with my husband 2 nights ago that I was eating me up. And then I was like, okay, now he knows. And it's good and we can do this together.
Yes.
So, but a lot of the times we just kind of like sweep under the rug. But the problem is that the body can only handle so much.
Yeah.
And at some point, you got to go in and open it. And a lot of the times it's a little late because it's already chronic disease. It's already something that is not like so easily
And dealing with an
treatable.
illness is so hard, right? And people don't realize this. Like when you're not working on yourself and or pinpointing and being proactive with your health, right? You end up paying for it later in life.
Oh, yeah.
And especially like, you know, in my early 30s, I'm like, you have to take care of yourself because it is not worth when you turn 60, when you're 70. You know, this is what I always see. Like there's 2 types of 60s, right? Like you have the young, hip, youthful, they're walking 60s, and you have the 60 who looks like they're 80.
Yeah.
And they're sick.
Yeah.
And you can just look at them like, oh, this is like so sad, right?
It's like, who do you want to be?
Bingo. Who do you want to be?
Yeah, and that's what I always ask people. How do you want to feel and who do you want to be? I went from in my 20s, you know, you want to be like skinny and hot, right?
Yes.
And then I was like, you know, my late 30s, I'm like, okay, now I want to be healthy and I want to feel good. And then I had kids, and in my mid 30s, I'm 37.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to live to 100.
Yeah.
Because I want to see my kids have kids.
Yes, exactly.
I want to be able to play with my grandkids. I want to be around. I want to travel. I want to see the world. There's so much that I want to do, and everything that I do today is for that goal, right? It's not to be skinny. It's not to my summer body, which you know, it's fine. Like
Totally.
I want to look good in a bikini,
Totally.
right? Like I want my jeans to fit and all those superficial things. are very valid, and
Yeah.
you know, and I do a little Botox, and
Yeah.
like
Amen, sister.
all that,
Mhm.
it's very valid. However, the bigger goal is I want to live a long time, and I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. We're all here to suffer. We're all here to heal.
Yeah.
But let me control what I can control, right? Because there's certain things that we can't control,
Exactly.
and that it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But control the controllables. So that's what I focus. That's what I focus on.
And it's being intentional, right? Like, you are being intentional with your decisions. And that's what De La Heart is. Your products are intentional. And I told you this before we started recording, but how I found De La Heart was I was truly doing testing hats for people who are going through chemo. And I needed to find a sun visor for this one member. And she's like, I have serious rashes. My skin is very sensitive. I can't wear a normal ball cap, like, but I have to stay out of the sun. Can you help me? And so I truly ordered 5 different sun hats, one of them being the De La Heart visor. And not only did I fall in love with it, but so did a Chemo Club member. And that's how I found you.
Yeah.
And then going through your website, I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, lymphatic drainage, which I've been doing for a couple years now, and I love it. But now I'm seeing your line progress, and now you have dry brushing. And what I want to talk to you about right now, looking at lymphatic drainage, which is a full body experience, is the best way I can describe it. And it's beautiful. I think, spiritually speaking, it's beautiful. I think the energy that you get from it is incredible. Like, what it physically does to your body is transformative.
Yeah.
But lymphatic drainage is expensive. And you have created something where the average person like me, I can do it every day with the exact same effect that's affordable, but it's also approachable. So how has lymphatic drainage changed your life?
So when I started the blog, I started writing about all things wellness, and I was doing interviews going around Miami, going through mostly like the women that were symbols, that were doing cool stuff, right? That were healthy, that were kind of like, they got it, right?
Yeah.
And when I was doing an interview to one of them, I used to always ask, what's your beauty secret? And she said lymphatic drainage massage. And I was like, what is this? And she looked great. So I naturally went home and I read all about it, and I started going to different places. It wasn't that mainstream because this was maybe 2016, 17, so it's early. And I found that it was amazing. At this point, I had already cleaned my diet. I was already moving. Like that part I had figured out.
Right.
But I was still feeling like I wasn't fully there.
Yeah.
I started doing lymphatic drainage massages, and I'm like, I called my mom. I said, this was what I was missing.
Really?
You know, there was this stagnation of toxins that weren't releasing. Even if I was sweating, even if I was working out, I didn't understand what the lymphatic system did.
Yeah.
And every time you hear lymphatic, it's like lymphoma.
Exactly.
You know, it's like in a negative way.
Yes.
So I feel like nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's also a very underrated because it doesn't have a pump, right? It's like a silent little magical system that lives within us. And when we do hear from it, it's in a negative way.
Totally.
So I called her and I said, they're amazing, but I can't handle it. Like, I can't. At this time, they were like $300.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this. And if you really want to see progress, you need to do it once or twice a week. Like, I can't afford that, right? And I was already married here, and so I was like, I was working, and the blog was doing a little better. So I was more financially stable, but I still always bring myself to that point when I wasn't.
Yeah.
And how much I needed it then, and I would have liked to have it, but I just couldn't afford $250. I used to make like $300 a week or something, So it's out of that place, I developed these tools because I felt that everybody deserved to feel good.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, people don't know what it feels to feel good until they feel good.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, you think you're thriving, and then you do something, you're like, oh my God, now I feel great, right?
Yeah.
Or when you cut gluten, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm digesting good. Now this is what it's supposed to do.
Like.
Or when you start sleeping, you're like, oh, this is a good night's sleep, you know? So all these things you need to know when they feel good, right? And out of that place, I developed the body tool the body tool, which is my very first product. And I'm telling you, I could not give them away because people didn't understand that it wasn't mainstream. Celebrities weren't doing lymphatic drainage. It's not like the sexiest thing to have, right? When you don't know what it is. But I developed it in a way that it had enough edges that you could do a full body lymphatic drainage at home for $30.
Yeah.
Once a day, 5 times a day, however many times you want.
Exactly.
So you were really getting the benefits, and I wanted everybody to have one, and I wanted to make it very accessible, and that's what I did. And we started in 2019. At like 2019, we started like selling out of the website, and like I said, I couldn't give them away. And then we went into the pandemic, and nobody could go anywhere, and everyone was scared because we didn't know what this was, and everyone all of a sudden made their health and their wellness a priority. So we really got on the map then, and it was a great opportunity for us to be able to reach people and grow the business in that time. So it was like a silver lining, the pandemic, for myself also, because at that same time I had my first daughter. So we were in lockdown, but I also got to like be home all the time. And we tried to grow this company given that everything was very hard, right? Everything was broken. Supply chains were broken. There was no material. It was just a mess. But we did our best, and we made it. And I remember like they keep saying, like, if a business makes it through this, they're going to make it. And I'm like, okay, so we're in it to win it. Like, I'm here. I'm
going to survive, baby.
So, and that's how we started. And then, you know, I started, obviously, I did a certification on lymphatic drainage online because we were home, and I learned about it, more of like the medical terms. I never wanted to do it on other people, so I never searched for that certification of a physical therapist, or even like a masseuse. But I like the education part. I like the do-it-yourself part. So I'm a nerd, and I can read. Like, I used to read 7 books a week before I had kids.
Gigi.
I love to read.
That's incredible.
And I just learned it, and I'm fascinated by what it does. And I read more, and I discovered amazing professionals like Dr. Gerard Lamol, who's devoted his life to studying the lymphatic system alone. And also Lisa Levitt-Gensley, which she's pretty big on social media, and she's made it approachable that you can use your hands, and she's teaching people how to like massage themselves. And then, you know, we linked everything to the benefits that it has, like the beauty benefits that you get from lymphatic drainage, the glow, the invigorating energy, and everything that you kind of like just have. And we incorporated dry brushing, Ayurvedic rituals. So now it became this really intentional line, because everything is born out of either a place of my own need for something, like the visor. I got really bad melasma with my children.
From pregnancy?
So from pregnancy and the hormones. So, but I still wanted to take them out.
Totally.
You know? To the park or whatever. So I needed to find something. So I created something. Then I needed to find an oil that worked with the body tool. And so I formulated something. And I am very cognizant of ingredients, the way that I eat, right? So the way that I eat is the way that I formulate. So I would never put something on my skin that I wouldn't put in my body.
Exactly.
And that's
the biggest.
The line is.
Oh, I love that, because what you put on your skin is just as powerful as what you put in it. And what I also love about your body oils is that it's in glass. Glass is huge.
Yeah, so we try. You know, it's very hard to be fully sustainable and be profitable. I'm gonna like just lay it out there.
It's so hard.
But we try. So we do glass. Our tubes, which are our creams, are in PCR, which is recycled plastic. Amazing. So we really try. Our boxes are recyclable. We use wood as opposed to other materials, right? And then we have a program that we plant trees in Colombia, since we're using Colombian wood.
That's amazing.
So we're trying. We're not
You're doing
perfect.
it, girlfriend.
I'm trying. We're really trying, and we have an amazing community of people that have followed me from the very beginning when I was
Yeah.
just sharing like my workouts and how to make a smoothie
Yeah.
through this evolution of me becoming the woman and the mother that I am today.
It's incredible. When people are doing the lymphatic drainage, what's the most important thing that they should do? Is it brushing up a movement? Is it
The most important thing is that you need to open your lymph nodes,
'cause
right?
that's step number one.
That's step number one. You need to open your lymph nodes, and to make it simple and quick, they
Yeah.
live at every hinge in our body. So
Okay.
everything that bends, there's a cluster. So groin area,
Okay.
elbows, armpits, collarbone, neck, behind your ears, and you lightly tap with your fingertips. You tap on them, and
Yeah.
it's a really nice opportunity for you to connect with yourself and speak nice to yourself and your cells. Because how I find, I speak for myself. We are often like, oh, my legs are too big.
Yeah.
Oh, my skin sucks. Da da da.
Negative self-talk.
Yeah. Let's do the. So this is a chance for you to say thank you. Hey, I'm gonna work with you. You're gonna release these toxins. This vessel is amazing. You take me through life. Thank you. Let's get what we don't need out.
Yeah.
And so that's step number one. And then number two is you always start at the top,
Okay.
move to the bottom, but you drive up. So that's the confusion, right?
Okay.
You're always driving up,
Okay.
but you want to start at the top, go through the center, then bring your legs up and kind of like rub up at your center
Okay.
of your body.
Okay.
So we have tutorials and we have everything on the site and on social media that you can really follow. And I have also learned a lot myself, right? Like
Totally.
I was doing a lot of it very primitively in the beginning, and now they say that when you've been doing something for 10 years, you are an expert.
Yeah.
So I have been doing this for 10 years now.
Dr. Gigi.
Dr. Gigi. So yeah, and that's what we want to be. We want to be approachable. Our
Yes.
price point is accessible.
Yes.
I don't believe that wellness and beauty should be for the elite,
Exactly.
and
That's huge.
that's kind of like where we try to be. I mean, considering the economies of scale.
Exactly. There's a narrative going around right now, which I'm interested in what your take on it is. You are an entrepreneur, you're a mom, and you're a wife. And I think there's what I'm seeing right now is this conversation of you can't have it all.
You can't.
You cannot. As a woman, you can't have it all. What do you think about that?
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Okay.
I think you can have it all,
Yeah.
just not at the same time.
Mm.
So if you're okay with that, you will get it all.
Yeah.
And understanding that something's got to give,
Right.
right? So
Right.
when you're really devoted to work, there may be a little less family time,
Right.
or there may be a little less travel.
Yeah.
Or when you are a weekend with your kids, then your inbox
Exactly.
is not getting the attention that it deserves. So there's always something's got to give.
Yeah.
But I wholeheartedly believe that a woman is our birthright
Yeah.
to have it all.
Oh, I love that. If you could give yourself a piece of advice about 10 years ago, what would you say? What would you say to young Gigi?
Oh, wow. What would I say to the young Gigi? You're going to be fine. More than fine. You're protected. And the divine is with you.
Yeah. Any advice for people who are suffering from anxiety? It's interesting. I'm going to say the past year, I've never suffered from anxiety really, except for like when I went through that traumatic time, and now all of a sudden I'm getting like these bouts of anxiety. So I'm doing my lymphatic, I'm doing my dry brush, I'm doing all of it. But anything else that you could help just kind of pinpoint?
Are you breathing?
No, I'm not.
That's it.
Is to breathe.
You just gotta breathe, and you gotta breathe into your diaphragm. So you want to breathe in a way that the center of your body really expands, and you visualize bringing that breath all the way down to your toes. So it's really long, beautiful breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. And that allows you to tap into your parasympathetic system, which is something that we do Oh, 12 years of yogi, right?
Yep.
So this is something that we do in yoga. We it's called ujjayi breath, and we breathe through our nose, and this taps you into the parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest, is where you're in healing mode, where you can tell yourselves you're safe, you're fine, as opposed to survival mode, which is like
Yeah.
fight or
flight.
fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the anxiety lives. I used to suffer from terrible anxiety, and when I do feel it coming,
Yeah.
I breathe, and that's why I meditate, because I am actually terrified of that anxiety that I used to suffer from. Like, it scares me. And when I see it coming, I'm like, no, you're not coming back. And I sit with myself and I breathe. So breathing,
Okay.
and breathing in this like really beautiful way would help you with anxiety. Also grounding, you know,
Yeah.
walking barefoot and being in nature, hugging a tree,
Yeah. Sunlight.
getting in the ocean, that salt water,
Yeah.
putting your phone down.
Yeah.
I know it's really hard because I'm also addicted to my phone.
Yeah.
But putting your phone down and just being with you and doing what works for you, and trying to step out of the rat race, because and it happens to me too, that I open my phone and I always feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not big enough, I'm not successful enough.
Yep.
And when that I feel that building up, I'm like, okay,
Enough.
get your shit together and get your mind right, and that's what we do.
I love that. Where are we going to see De La Hart 5 years from now?
I would love to see De La Hart at Sephora.
Yes. How about Credo?
Yes, Credo, Sephora, Ulta,
Okay.
Target, everywhere. I want it to be available to everyone, because, again, aside from the benefits that you do see, that the sculptor and this and that, there's like this internal benefit of what we do, that it just feels good, and it's intentional, and it's good for your health, and it's good for your body, and it will help you age better and more beautiful.
Because your skin is flawless, by the way.
Thank you.
Your skin is absolutely flawless.
We did a photo shoot yesterday, so I have like
it's like stunning. I'm like, you're glowing.
I put way too much. I think it's still in me.
I'm gonna do this the second you leave. I'm gonna start. You look amazing.
Yeah, that's what we do, and I fully believe in everything, and this is my life.
Yeah.
This is I walk the talk, and everyone that knows me knows that this is what I do, and I live for it, and I breathe it, and I share it, and that's what I want to do. I want to share it with everyone.
Well, and I just want to thank you from a personal, selfish standpoint, because I have been following you for some time now, and thank you for sharing all of it. But you're vulnerable, and you let us into your personal life, your professional life, and you're real, and that is impossible to find. And so I thank you for that. Like, and you share your heart, and it just like really means the world, especially from, and I live in California. Like, I'm never in Miami, but like I feel like I'm connected to you, and I trust you. And so everything that you're saying to me, I just like have goosebumps, because I'm like, oh my God, this is so right. It feels so right. Like, I need to really now take what you're telling me and apply it to my life, because I'm seeing you in person now. I'm like, oh my God, it's true. So thank you for all that.
Thank you. That means the world, because it's really easy to get lost and start looking around, right? And coming out of this place of lack. But every time I start to feel like that, I just go within, and I trust that my own journey is my own journey, and that I don't know where I'm going, but I'm definitely enjoying the day to day. And and I love, it's the power of the social media, right? It's also it has negative aspects to it, but it also has a lot of positive things, that it connects to strangers from the opposite sides of the country that have something in common, right? And that vulnerability, and at the end of the day, we're all the same, right?
So
we
true.
all want to belong.
Yep.
We want connection. We have emotions. We have been hurt. We have been survived. We come back. We're strong. Like, we're all the same, just different circumstances. So having that empathy for people, and just being in that space, I think, is what keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
And also something that, you know, I have 2 kids, so I'm really mindful of what type of humans I want to
Bring
put
into
in
the
society.
world.
Yeah, put in society.
Yeah.
I'm trying my hardest. That is for sure.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being
appreciate it.
here, and thank you for sharing De La Heart. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get you into Credo.
Yes,
Yes.
please. Yes.
Thank you,
Sephora,
Gigi
if
Vogel.
everyone's listening, come.
We're all going
come,
to manifest. We're all going to manifest for you.
We're ready.
We're ready, baby. Thank you, Gigi.
No, thank you so much.